Hi, everybody. All right, I am going to go over our last couple lessons in for Tuesday and Wednesday because I sent out the video lessons for science and social studies, but I didn't for the morning. So I'm actually backing up to, let's see, the 9th. And we went over symmetry. So that was the lesson. It continued today. So these will be kind of back to back. So we started by going to page 473. And this is all about line symmetry. And so we took, let's see here. Let me pull up the book. All right, so we took a couple things of notes here on line symmetry. So let me get my notebook open as well. All right, so it's right here, but we put this in our notebook. So we said that we titled it line symmetry, and we said that a figure has line symmetry if it can be folded about a line that its two parts match up exactly. So for example, if you had a circle and you folded this in half, this fold line, that's called your line of symmetry. And we have different ways that we can fold things. We can fold things and make a vertical line. We can make a horizontal line or a diagonal line. And so we showed a couple shapes here. So here is my piece of construction paper. And this is, all right, so my piece of construction paper is rectangular. And so if I fold it and I make a vertical line, you can see that everything lines up perfectly and there's nothing sticking out. All the corners match up. And so I can say that this has a vertical line of symmetry. Then I can fold it like so. And I folded it and I made a horizontal line of symmetry. Everything's lined up, nothing's sticking over. So this line of symmetry right down here, down the middle, is a horizontal line. So it has a vertical line and a horizontal line. However, when I try to fold corner to corner and do a diagonal line, you can see it doesn't match up and we've got things that are sticking out. Those corners don't match up like I want them to. So there's no diagonal lines for the rectangle. Here's an example of a square. And so this one, it has that vertical line. I can fold the left side over. Everything matches up. It has the horizontal line down the middle, down like its belly. That matches up. And then also it has a diagonal line. I can fold it like so, and everything matches up. It has a diagonal line of symmetry. And I could also go the opposite way and fold this side and show that other diagonal line. So this line that I'm making, I can fold there as well. So we've got different lines of symmetry that we showed. And then if we go back to the book, there's some examples here. And we talked about on page 474, sorry. All right, on page 474 down here at the bottom, we said we were telling whether the parts of each side of the line match. So when we have this line here, if we were to fold this top half over down to the bottom, we said no, that was not a line of symmetry. This one here, if we did this vertical line of symmetry, this left side would fold over and match up. So we said yes. We said yes to the face because the eyes would match up, the smile would match up. And then on number 4, we said no because if we folded the top half down here, it would not match up with what's on the bottom. So then students had this 13.5 homework and practice for their independent work. And all of the independent work, if you go to Google Classroom, all of the independent work for the week is getting put on this recording sheet. And so Tuesday, they worked on the odd problems. So page 477 to 478, they did numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. And there were a couple of these, like on number 5 you can't record. You have to just draw it in your book. So go ahead, do the drawing in your book. And then when you get to something like that, you're just going to put drawn in book. Okay, because you can't show that on here, so that's fine. All right, so that was that. And then let's see, where am I trying to go? I'm trying to go back here. All right, so I'm going to jump now to today's lesson. And yesterday also take a look. Let me put on here that this was odd numbers. All right, take a look at page 453 as well. We did this in small groups, so I don't want you to miss it. When you go, let's see, 453, this is just going over. I'm going to just show you what we did so you can make sure you have the same. This was just going backwards a little bit because I want to make sure we really cover all of these geometry topics really, really well, because like I said, we've missed last year. So we're really kind of double dipping here. So make sure that you look at this. So this is just drawing. You're drawing a ray here. You're drawing angle J. You're drawing right angle ABC, line JK, obtuse angle XYZ, line segment PQ. Here you're naming some angles. So here's your shape. So we went through and we took our piece of paper and how I showed you guys how to line up to see whether something is an acute or obtuse or right angle. So we found some acute angles, we found some obtuse angles, and then down here on the bottom you've got angle B. We said that angle B is an acute angle because it looks like it's measuring less than 90. So we went over those in small group. Then going back, all right, so going back, let's jump now to let's jump back to, let's see, Wednesday. And in Wednesday, this was carrying over. Okay, so hold on, I'm sorry, 1 second. Okay, for Wednesday, let's see here. All right, 479. So we continued, and now on 479, now we're drawing our own lines and we're finding our own. And so 479 starts off on, this is 13.6. So for 13.6, let's see, we jumped over here on page 481, and we were looking at some figures and we were deciding how many lines of symmetry they had. So again, we reviewed those lines. So we went back to our notebook and we reviewed the lines. So we talked about what does it mean when we're talking about a vertical line or a horizontal line or diagonal, because these are the types of lines of symmetry that we need to check. So here we looked at the vertical lines and we said, yes, it has a vertical, it has a horizontal, it has those diagonal. So these have more than one. Then on this star here, we said same thing. It had a vertical, it had horizontal, it had diagonal, so more than one. Our butterfly, when we tried to do the vertical, we said, okay, the left side would match up to the right. But when we tried to do the horizontal line, if we take a line and put it down the middle and we take the top half and fold it down to the bottom, these are not going to line up. the top half does not match the bottom, so that horizontal line is not going to work. And then same thing with the diagonal, that's not going to work because when we would fold, like if we did diagonal like this, if we fold this right side over to the left on that line, nothing would match up. So we just said that that had one line of symmetry. And then with our seahorse, if we do a vertical line, a horizontal line, diagonal line, nothing, so 0 on our seahorse there. And then with the letters, oh, I think I threw mine away. Here, let me get my piece of paper here. All right, with the letters, we did some practice with our own names. So, for example, I wrote out Snyder. Trying to be nice and straight with my letters here. All right, so we went through and we talked about, okay, what kind of lines of symmetry does our own name have? And so my S, I'm going to check, does it have any vertical? Does it have any horizontal? Does it have any diagonal? So that one had 0. And then same thing with my N, that one has 0. My Y, I can put a vertical line straight down the middle, and that would have 1. Okay, my D, I could make a horizontal line, and I could fold the top down and match the bottom. So that one has 1. Same thing with my E, I could do a horizontal line down the middle. And then with my R, that one would have 0. So you can use letters. So like how this one, it has all the letters here. And you can go and you can find out why these have, or if they have those lines of symmetry. So if you're looking for something that only has one line of symmetry, then you're looking for, okay, I can only do a vertical, or I can only do a horizontal, or I could only do a diagonal. So for example, the letter T, if you draw that vertical line down, that's 1. And I can't make a horizontal line and I can't make a diagonal one. So T would be an example of something that has only one line of symmetry. So when you're using the letters, it's the same thing like here up at the top. Think about what's going to be included, and or what would qualify as a line of symmetry, and you have to test vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. So use your notes in your notebook and try all that out. All right, so the independent work for today, if you go back to the agenda, or not the agenda, the assignment here. Today is Wednesday, so this was on page 483. So some more shapes where you are practicing like we did in class. So you're writing whether they have 1, more than 1, or 0. And then you're just going to put that on your answer document. So if they had 1, you could just put 1. If they had more than 1, put more than 1. If they had 0, put 0. Okay, so you're doing the even problem. So you're doing 2 and 4 for that. And then for number 6 has this poster with the water cycle. And you're looking at the letters. So it says, which letters on Erica's poster appear to have 0 lines of symmetry? So you're going to look through and you're going to say, okay, like the R, that one I tried vertical, I tried horizontal, I tried diagonal, nothing's working. So go through all the letters and test those 3 types of ways. And then on the back, you have number 8. Oh, and for the number 6, you're just going to write on your answer document, you would just write which letters. All right, on number 8, multiple choice, how many lines of symmetry does the jar have? Number 10, you're trying to figure out, it says, which shows all the lines of symmetry for this figure. So look at this figure. Which one of these examples is showing the correct line of symmetry there? So just put your letter A, B, C, or D, And then number 12, this is a multi-step problem. So it says, which statement about the number of lines of symmetry is true? So here, think about what you see. So you have your figure, and it's showing you all the lines of symmetry. And the things that you need to know about are the number of sides. So this is a 4-sided figure. And you need to know about the number of angles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. So 4 sides, 4 angles, and then it's asking you just to make a statement about the lines of symmetry and how they compare to these sides and angles. So you're just trying to find which one is true. And so again, this is multiple choice. So in your answer document, you'll just put A, B, C, or D. All right, so that was math. And then, all right, so make sure you've recorded. Make sure you have your Monday through Wednesday, that you're all caught up and that you've been keeping up with that. And then, all right, let's get into reading. All right, so for reading, we actually didn't get to this story yesterday because the caterpillar story took a little bit longer, which is fine. All right, so we might actually we'll have to see if we can fit this in. I'll highlight it so I'll remember, but we might have to fit this in later on or just push it to another time. All right, so this is in Seesaw, which I apparently got out of by accident. So let me log back in real quick. All right, so if you go to your activities and you go down to reading, you have reading week 23 whole group. Open up your draft. And so on Monday, we started The Caterpillar's Tale. And so Caterpillar's Tale, we read the story. So when we started off our day on Tuesday, we just kind of reviewed the things that we had talked about. And we went back over some of the notes that we had taken on the side and just did a kind of a little recap on that. And then we did questions 1, 2, and 3 together. So we were just talking about the questions. So the first one says, the caterpillar's actions while building its cocoon support the idea that it is, and we said that it was unconcerned about what the ant and the bee think about its house. So we went back and we looked at some evidence. So we wanted to feel very confident that, when we said this, we wanted to make sure that we had evidence to back up our statement that C is correct. So when it says that he's unconcerned, we talked a little bit about that word unconcerned, and let me write it out. So it's concerned. All right, so this word right here, concerned, if you are concerned about something, then that means like you're worried about it, that it's, it's, if something is a concern for you, like, let's see, like an example might be, like eating healthy or, not getting the coronavirus. We're concerned about, staying healthy right now, especially with everything going on. So, we can actually look up the word here. So let's see what the dictionary says. All right, so I'm in the C, so C-O-N, I need C-O-N, concerned, right here. All right, so concerned, so worried or anxious about something. I'm concerned about those broken windows in the garage. So think about what that means, and then when you put this prefix "un" in front of it, you're changing the meaning. So now instead of being concerned like being worried about something, now we're unconcerned. Think about like the opposite. We're not worried. We're not going to be like in this story. The moth was not really concerned that people were laughing at him, or that people were telling him that he's pretty much doing a bad job, and that he's not building his house correctly, and they're telling him, oh, it should look a certain way, and he's unconcerned. So we went back and we found in 5 it says, the only sort of house I know how to make, the caterpillar answered humbly. So the way that he replied, because if you go look at before that, it says, a bee that had lighted close by began to buzz with laughter. Will you tell me, if you please, what sort of house that is? He cried. So here he is, they're like teasing him, and they're like, what kind of house that is that? And they say, B says, oh, I've never heard of anything so absurd, like so silly, so ridiculous. And so here they are saying that, and he's staying very humble. He's like, like this, I'm just making the only house I know how to make. And then it goes on, and then it says the caterpillar shook his head and then set to work again. So he's just kind of like, you know what? I'm not really bothered by them and what they're saying. He just is answering them, and he's saying it in a nice way. Or he's doing, just like a little head nod, like no, and then he just continues to keep doing what he's doing. So there's no evidence of him getting mad that they're kind of teasing him, or like, hey guys, don't you, like, y'all are a bunch of, idiots, like, don't you know that this is what moths like, or what caterpillars do? Like, he didn't do anything like that. He just kind of stays chill and keeps doing what he's doing. So we felt confident that C was our answer. He was feeling unconcerned. All right, number 2, which sentence does the author use to suggest that the caterpillar has experienced an important change? And so when it says which sentence, and it gives us these sentences here, if you zoom in, you can see that they are italicized, meaning they look like they kind of got pushed over a little bit. They're leaning. These came straight from the text. So these here, we went back and we found where some of these were, and we decided on many days and nights passed, and at last what had once been the caterpillar began to stir and wake. So we said that this was the big change. He changed from a caterpillar to a moth. So we went back and we talked about, kind of where that's happening in the story, and decided that that was a good answer there, the answer, I should say. And then on 3, we've got, which of the following is the best summary of paragraphs 1 through 9? So it's not the whole story, it's only 1 through 9. So we kind of drew a little line to say, okay, we want just this section. So we reread it, and we had gotten rid of B and D, and A and C were pretty close contenders. And we went ahead and went with C because it was more specific to what was going on. A said all the right things, but it was just kind of a little bit broad. So when it says the best summary, it doesn't mean that one of, something else on here is necessarily wrong. It's just, which one is the strongest one that really gives you a good idea of what's going on in this story. All right, so number 3, or page 3, was what you guys did. So you guys needed to answer number 4, number 5, and number 6. And we already modeled on Monday how we look up these words and how we take whatever we find in the dictionary and we apply it back to the story. So make sure you do that. Don't just think, oh, I know what absurd means. That means blank. Actually make sure that it's, because you can have a word have multiple meanings. So you need to make sure that the definition that you're saying is the one that matches up with how the story used the word. So once you have that, go ahead and draft that. Oh, I should keep it open because now I'm going to talk about today. Silly. All right, so that was, what is it, Tuesday. On Wednesday, today, we got into our new story. And that one is down here on the bottom called Being Responsible. So we had some characters read it out for us. And we were talking about again just those plot elements about how, kind of what do we expect to see every time that we read a drama. What do we expect? So we expect there to be characters. Okay, so here, right here, characters. We expect there to be a title. We kind of expect that we're getting the setting, where the story is taking place. Sometimes we'll have different scenes, like if that setting is changing. So, for example, like right here, they're in like a modern day kitchen with a table and 3 chairs. Then in scene 2, they move to Andrew's bedroom. So I kind of, when the scene changes, I kind of picture in my head, like I visualize like I'm on, or I'm at the theater and I'm watching people perform up on stage, and I see the curtain close, and they're fumbling around quickly getting all the setting to change, and then when the curtain opens, like voila, we've transformed into this, different setting. And so I kind of picture that in my head. And so you have your different scenes here, scene 1, scene 2. You have the characters where it's showing the dialogue of what they're saying. And then you have stage directions. And the stage directions are really what set apart these dramas, because, I can read a fiction book, and a fiction book has a setting. It has a problem and a solution. It has a title. It has characters. It has dialogue. It has all of the same things. But these different scenes and these stage directions that tell the reader what to do, that really sets apart dramas, and helps kind of identify the text as a drama. And so here you guys had the 4 questions. So which is an example of dialogue? So which one of these, you'll have to find it in the text. So which one of these is showing that Andrew is speaking? So dialogue, I want you to think of, what the actors are saying. Then number 2, read the lines from the selection. Dad is making dinner. Mom is reading the newspaper. Andrew is reading a book about dogs. What is that? Is that the cast, those characters? Is that the setting where it takes place? Dialogue, what's being spoken? Or is that the stage directions that's telling them what to do? And then number 3, read the stage directions in scene 2. So find scene 2, look at those stage directions. What can you tell about how does those stage directions describe Dad's emotion? So what do we find out about Dad? And don't just read the top one, read all the stage directions in scene 2. And then in scene 2, read that. What are Andrew's actions after he gets a plant? So go find it, what's happening after. So a little bit of sequencing there, what comes after. All right, so once you're done with that, go ahead and draft it. And then if you go back here to writing, so I'm going to jump back to Tuesday. So Tuesday was all about conjunctions, and this is in Seesaw under activities. We have a writing assignment here, week 23 writing. Open up your draft. All right, so here on the conjunctions, well, first we reviewed fanboys. Again, sentence 1 plus that fanboy, the comma, and then the fanboy plus sentence 2. These are ways that we can combine sentences. And I really want you to focus down on this part down here on the bottom. I really like this right here. It shows when you use what. So like, for example, if you're making a choice, you would say or. So like I want, do you want to go to the store, or do you want to go to the baseball game? I don't know. So it tells you like when you would use these different things. So make sure you read that part. I liked that it included that because that's good to have. And then we just did a few of these together. So the first one, or for this page, we're combining using and, or but, and we are using those words to connect these sentences. So the first one is, I wanted to go to the circus, period. I was sick that day, period. So we use the conjunction but. So I wanted to go to the circus. There's that first sentence. We remove the period, we add the comma, use the fanboy, and then continue sentence 2. I wanted to go to the circus, comma, but I was sick that day. Then you've got an example here for the word and you've got a sentence or an example here for the word or, where you're making a choice. On all of these, notice sentence 1, comma, fanboy, sentence 2. So that comma and the fanboy, when we have those two sentences, now you can't have, like for example, if I say, would you like tea or coffee? Well, the part that I put, would you like tea, that's a sentence. But then the other part, coffee by itself is not a sentence. It's just a noun. Okay, you need a subject and the predicate, the who and the what. So coffee is not a complete sentence. So you don't need a comma. You can still use the conjunction to combine those two things, but you don't need the comma. So when you have two sentences, the glue that's holding those together is that you've got sentence 1 plus sentence 2. So that glue in the middle combines those two sentences together. So the comma and the fanboy are important for that. All right, so that was Tuesday. And then let me go while I'm still on here. The grammar part of our lesson today for Wednesday was just talking about how we have got to get into the habit of making sure that our I's are capitalized. So here was a passage. It was called First Day. So pretend this is my writing, and I've gone through and I've written everything out. I need to go back and I need to be on the hunt for those letter I's. And it's just a checklist, it's something you can check off that, yes, I went through and I checked them all. So we just went through and we went on the hunt for those letter I's. And obviously, this is all wrong. So we would have had to fix those. But in your own writing, be on the lookout. Like the letter I should be capitalized. We as a whole class, we're not 100% on this, so it needs to be part of our daily habit where once we've written something, we just have to go back and we have to check and make sure we did that. So we did some practice finding them here, and then we went back to our own writing and we said, okay, if this is something I wrote, I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to find the letter I's, and I'm going and I'm searching. Oh, I found one. Make sure. Yep, it's capitalized. Good. Okay, let me find the next one. Yep, that one's good. Keep going. Oh, nope, I forgot that one. Let me fix it. And it's just part of your habit that you go through. Okay, just part of your checklist. Yep, I did that. All right, then the second part of writing for both days are these writing samples. So we've been doing writing samples all this week. And there we go. That's the one I want. And so each day we've had a different prompt. And I'm really just kind of passing over the baton. We've done lots of support, lots of hand-holding as we kind of break down each of these different paragraphs. And, we've really dove in and we've really talked about, okay, what does it mean? Excuse me, what does it mean to write an introduction? What does it need to have? How, what are some examples of how it could look? And we've done those together. And then we've really looked at the body and we said, okay, what needs to be in the body? What has to be there? And so same thing with the conclusion. So this was me kind of just passing it over and saying, okay, here's some different prompts that make you kind of do different things. Let me see what you got. Let me see what you've held on to. Let me see what you're able to apply to your own writing with no hand holding. Just write. Make sure you have an introduction, body, and conclusion. Make sure it's a 4 to 5 paragraph paper. Let me see what you're doing. And so Monday we wrote about explaining to a 3rd grader what science experiments are like in 4th grade. Tuesday we explained to a 3rd grader what 4th graders learn about fractions. and we explained all the different topics that we've been taught. Today, we wrote about our favorite birthday, and we explained what made it so special. And so each day, like today, for example, I was really looking at, okay, we're writing about something, we're writing about a favorite birthday. So this is something that has already happened. So I'm really looking at, okay, can you take the reader um, to an event that's already happened in the past? Are those verbs and everything that you're using, are you showing that this event has already happened? Okay, you don't want to write um, you don't want to describe it like it's going to happen in the future or that it's happening now. It needs to reflect that this is something that has already happened. So that was what I was mainly looking for today with your writing. So click down here. You can take the prompt, highlight it, Control C, copy, Control V, paste. Get rid of this number here and put the date. So let's see, what's today, the 10th. So whatever day you're writing it on, write the date, write the prompt, and then just start typing underneath. Alrighty, so that was, this one was Tuesday, this one was Wednesday for today. All right, so that covers everything for Tuesday. So now I'm just going to jump over and talk about Wednesday. So thank you for hanging on with me as I kind of jump around here. So for science today, we continued reading, doing our closed reading that we're doing. Let me open up this. All right, so yes, on Monday we started off, we read Let's Visit the Moon. Tuesday you were supposed to do the second and the third reading. And then today we're on the phases of the moon. So we read through that, and then we talked about this first read. So we said the text is about the moon phases. We learned about the order of phases the moon is in during its lunar cycle. And so that was what the whole text was about. So it was teaching us about the different phases and what it means, what the phases are called. It describes what they look like. So we took that information, and the independent work was to fill out the phases here. So we decided that the sun is on this side. So I modeled doing this here. So we went and we highlighted about all the phases, and then that helped us. So when we saw here, we went back to this, where is it? Right here. When the moon is lined up between the earth and sun, the moon is in the new moon phase. So if you look at it, when the moon is lined up in between the earth and the sun, so here it is in between, then this is new moon. So I labeled it new moon. So then you're going to go to the next phase and so on all throughout these 2 pages, and you're going to label the remaining, and you're not looking it up. I want you looking back in the text for the information. So once you are done with that, you were to draft that. And then if you still have your coding that you wanted to work on from the seasons, you can continue working on that. And then for social studies, we had 2 videos that we watched about sharecropping, and we did the Wednesday article about sharecropping as well. And there were a couple questions that we talked about and discussed, and that was that. Then during our enrichment time today, we did some practice with a Kahoot game, just going back over types of angles, types of lines, and we did that, and that finished up Wednesday. So let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for being flexible with this morning's kind of craziness going on. I had a meeting, and then I had extra kids in here because we have a teacher out. So thank you. Tomorrow morning we will be ready to go at 7:30, and make sure that tardy bell rings at 7:45. So please make sure you're on before, don't pop on right at 8 and, be sitting there with your breakfast and so on. Like, you need to be ready to go by 8 so we can start math right on the dot. So make sure you're getting, just like in school, if you came after that, that's considered tardy. So try to make sure that you're on here before 8 so then we can start math right away. All right, I think that is it. So again, let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.